Hi, and welcome back to Josh Cooks Meat. Today's meaty sensation, spaghetti carbonara. It's got bacon in it. So after a while, pasta gets pretty boring, right? It's egg, flour, and water. Can you get like any more boring ingredients? No, you can't. But what if I was to tell you that with only 5 ingredients that you probably have in the kitchen, you can make a fancy pasta dish with the prince of all meats, bacon? No way. Wait. Whoa, I gotta see this. Yeah, you do. We're gonna put a good old American twist on a classic Italian delicacy. All you're gonna need is some pasta, eggs, bacon, Parmesan cheese, and some parsley if you want. We're even gonna make some garlic knots. Garlic knots too? Man, what a bargain. You better hit like and subscribe after all this. Yeah, you should. Now let's do this. First, we're gonna start making our garlic knots. I'm using a store-bought pizza dough because I'm a meat guy, not a bread guy. If you want to make your own dough, that's awesome. You rock. First, I'm going to put some flour down on my cutting board so the dough doesn't stick. That stuff is like glue sometimes. Now I'm going to roll it out. It doesn't have to be round because we're not making a pizza. We're making knots. Once I've gotten it to about 8 inches by 16 inches, I'm going to cut it into 1 inch to 2 inch wide strips. Now remember, the thicker your dough is, the plumper your knots are going to be. I went with thinner dough to get a crunchier knot, kind of like a pizza crust. Next, line your cookie sheet with some parchment paper so your dough won't stick. Then tie your dough into knots. You can do a traditional knot or any shape you wish. Get creative with it. And don't worry about what kind of knot you tie. There will not be a test. You see what I did there? Get back to the video. Once we've got all the knots done, I'm gonna add a little olive oil to the dough to give it a little crunch, then set it aside to let it rise a bit. Now I'm gonna preheat my oven to 400 degrees. Next, it's on to the good stuff, the garlic butter. Take a stick of butter and melt it down. Then press about 5 heads of garlic into it. I'm gonna press the garlic into this because it'll dissolve into the butter more than a chopped garlic. Stir it up and add a pinch of salt. Salt brings out the flavor in everything. I'm also gonna add a half a teaspoon of dried oregano. You can add fresh oregano too, but you're gonna need twice as much. I'm also gonna add some fresh parsley too, for color. Now I'm gonna let that simmer down for a couple minutes and let all the flavors mix together. Once my oven is hot enough, I'm gonna stick the knots in for about 11 minutes. Now it's time for the carbonara sauce. We're gonna use 3 large eggs and 1 egg yolk. Crack them in a bowl and whisk them together until they're evenly blended. This will give you about 2/3 of a cup. Now that's important for the amount of grated Parmesan cheese you use. If you want a thick sauce, use an equal amount of cheese. Less thick, use a little less cheese. This time I'm gonna go a little lighter on the cheese and use only a half a cup of Parmesan. Dump it into your eggs and mix it well so it's nice and blended. I mean, really blended. Now we're on to the bacon. We're gonna use about a half pound of bacon. I like using the thick cut, but use what you have. I'm cutting it in fairly larger pieces as it will render down while cooking. And it's always fun to eat a chunk of bacon no matter what the dish. Once it's all cut, I'm gonna place it in a cold pan, then turn on the heat. This will help render out more of the fat. I like to cook at a medium heat so I don't overcook the bacon and get burned pieces. While that's going, I've got a pot of water that I've had heated up. I'm gonna add salt to the boiling water as it's my only chance to add flavor to the pasta. I'm using a regular spaghetti for this dish. I like the long noodles as they'll hold the rich sauce nicely, but you can use any pasta you'd like. I always make sure to give the pasta a nice stir to keep the noodles from sticking together. I'm gonna check my bacon again, stir it up, and make sure I don't burn anything. I'm gonna give the pasta another stir to make sure it's not sticking together. Now back to the bacon. I wanna make sure all the pieces are cooked evenly and not too crisp. When I feel it's almost done, I turn the heat off in the pan and let the residual heat keep cooking the bacon. Once the pasta is done to my liking, I'm gonna put it right into the pan with the bacon and my grease. It's okay if water gets in there. I actually want it pretty wet. The starchy water will help make the sauce smooth. I'm gonna mix the pasta real good with the bacon and the grease and add about a teaspoon of pepper. Now once the pasta and bacon have cooled a bit, I'm gonna add in my egg and cheese mixture. I don't want it too hot because I don't want to cook the eggs. We don't want spaghetti and scrambled eggs. When I add the eggs and cheese, it's important to mix it up pretty vigorously. Once I get it mixed, I'll add in some of the pasta water to give it a smooth texture.
Ooh-wee, look how smooth and creamy that is.
Now my 11 minutes are up, so I'm going to take out my garlic knots and add my butter mixture. Give them a nice, generous brushing because that's what we all want. Buttery garlic knots. Hell yeah! Now take some tongs and twist your carbonara on a plate. Add your garlic knots, and it's like you're at a fancy restaurant in your house.
Woo-woo. Pasta with bacon? Won't get any better than that.
If you like this video, hit the like button. To see more just like it, make sure and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified for new videos. And be sure to like us on Instagram at Carnivore Kingdom and on Facebook at The Carnivore Kingdom.